a song?
I don't.
I got one.
Great. Ooh.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot.
Mike.
Drop it like it's hot. Drop it like it's hot. Mike. Hey.
That was great.
What up? Last minute song creation there.
Daddy, you always coming in the clutch. I love that. That's great. I was like, I can't think of a song right now. And he was like, I got it.
I got it, girl.
So hot. Ugh, a man you can rely on. I love it.
It's the last day of August. August 31st. And this is the 13th, I believe, episode of Hot Mic.
Yay.
Applause for you.
Lucky number 13. Great. Welcome to Hot Mic. I'm Sheba.
She's Sheba. I'm Billy.
And we are your hot, married,
Mike, couple.
Inspiring,
couple
creatives. Because I think like married kind of implies that. Well, I guess it doesn't imply that we're like married to each other. Neither does couples. So anyway.
Couple, not couples. Couples. So married or.
I like married, inspiring creators.
Ooh, even doper.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Love it.
Y'all?
Hey y'all. How you doing?
As you see, we letting the curtains go a little bit. You can see the back end how we do with this stuff. We just come up with stuff. We just roll with it.
That's how we do it on Hot Mic.
We do it on Hot Mic.
We're just channeling.
Today we have a great show. Oh my gosh, I have to change the words on this thing. But let's go into it. Applause for that. Let's go into the two topics real quick. And right here.
Ooh.
Oh, seeing how it all works.
Cool. This is
studio mode.
A thing.
And let's go in there. Two topics. Oh, if I click that, that's not working.
Oh, let me, while we're doing this, I'll do a sound check.
Absolutely.
Let's make fucking.
So yes, last week we had to film this twice.
Okay, great. Perfect.
Alright. Yeah, we had to do it twice because we recorded the first 30 minutes of the first episode, and it was not. There was no audio. Somebody had to tell us in the comments.
Our friend Ibrahim literally in an extermination camp still takes time out of their like limited day to come and tune into our show and be like, we can't hear you. I'm like, oh no, oh my gosh. But so loving and awesome, and I love it. Proud of us. But yeah, so now we know to check our sound at the beginning.
That's right.
So we don't, I mean, our breath is never wasted. But yeah, the people deserve to hear it.
It was a good little like first run, and then we just kind of did it over.
Yeah.
Did it
I think we should also, oh dang, what was I going to say? Oh, I think on how we have it on YouTube, like we say like the Hot Mic morning reaction show. I don't think we need morning in it. I don't think that's like the interesting, necessary part of it. And I don't want to be tethered to doing it in the morning.
Yeah, we definitely.
Even though we're not, but.
We've definitely been, straddling the morning. We've been coming like 11:40.
Exactly. And like, what's the value, you know?
Yeah, this is more of an off-camera conversation, I think, Sheba, to talk about the
Hot Mic on Hot Mic, a thing that is supposed to be about whatever is said when you don't know a mic is on. Please.
Oh, that's interesting. You really love that part. I
do.
love that part about Hot Mic. The thing about the morning thing is just, I grew up on morning shows, like just to make it.
This is 2025.
I grew up on morning. The fact is that people aren't really necessarily watching this at the time of. So that's okay. And morning is gonna be a different time for anybody. Yeah, we can take morning off.
I don't think we should like model ourselves after these old white supremacist programmings. Like we're transcending it and revolutionizing it.
Everything that you're like doubting is like a white supremacist. I'm talking specifically about Hot 97. I'm talking about morning shows, black community morning shows.
Oh, who owns those? Is it the black community or is it white people?
It's a slot of time to put a thing to get people's attention on the commute to work, and that's what it was.
I'm not trying to encourage us being laborers. I'm not trying to like get us, and it's a Sunday, so like I want people to, I want us to be different. Like, I don't want us to just recreate what we were taught when we were kids, which we know more and more now is actually like not good. And we have to unlearn all this stuff right now. So I'm just saying.
But
I'm saying
the morning thing was it's actually like
now I'm even more against it because you're fighting me on it.
I'm not fighting on it actually. I actually because now when I think about it, it was originally because we do a live show and I'm like, yo, the morning slot is an interesting slot. Like, we can pick people we don't like in the entertainment industry, but they have morning shows. People do morning shows. It's a great slot as opposed to being in the evening. So, but no one is really, we don't, people pick up on this, and that's what we're seeing at our data shows. The about 100 or so people who watch this show do so at different times. So yeah, we can wrap it up. Anyway,
I'm an evening person. Let's do it. Like, I just
a plus. All right.
Okay.
That's how we figure it out.
Thank you. I feel like it's a vestige of like slavery and imperialism and capitalism that like we have this early bird gets the worm thing, but like actually time is made up and we can do things at any time.
We can do things at any time.
Like any other species, we're just detaching. Okay, anyway. Anywho. This is how it works, you guys.
We are going into the first thing for this episode. It's about Snoop Dogg. Many of y'all probably heard this already, but it's only a couple of days old.
Yeah, I try to stay off of, like, I've been recently trying to stay off, like, social media and out of what what everyone else is talking about, because I'm trying to, like, be single-minded in my vision of the future and not get distracted. So I did not see it until
there's so much dumb stuff.
There's so much, and like the powers.
We're gonna talk about this too, because what you're saying, like, you have to, the whole idea of isolating yourself from some of these ideas and these bits of content. You know what I'm saying? Let's get into it, yo. Split screen. What happened?
Oh, it was. I'm not used to what the bubbles look like in this, and so I thought it was like something in it, but it's not.
Right.
It's all good.
All right. Here we go.
I took my grandson to see what was the movie with Buzz Lightyear?
I think it's called
with Kiki. And like, and she had a baby with a woman. I didn't come in for this. They putting it everywhere. What up, though? It's your boy Big Snoop D-O double G.
Snoop catching some heat for comments he made about LGBTQ representation on the It's Giving podcast. The rapper explaining his shock at seeing lesbian parents depicted on screen. The scene from the 2022 film marked Disney's first same-sex kiss.
My grandson in the middle of the movie like, Papa Snoop, how she have a baby with a woman? She a woman. I didn't come in for this. Just came to watch the goddamn movie. Hey man, watch the movie. So it's like, I'm scared to go to the movies now. Like, y'all throwing me in the middle. I don't have an answer for it.
The moment was almost axed from the theatrical cut, but Pixar employees protested and got it reinstated.
It threw me for a loop. These are kids that we have to show that at this age, like,
that part.
They're going to ask questions.
Yeah.
They are going to ask. I don't have the answer.
What'd you tell them?
Watch the movie. Eat this popcorn.
Shh. Snoop's hot take sparked criticism.
Okay, put the mic back up. Yeah, let's go back to this. Yeah. She's. What do you think, man? Snoop has an issue with Buzz Lightyear having a lesbian couple with a child. What's the deal?
Bro, I think he really is against women astronauts. Because the cool thing about them, right, is that they're like astronauts and they've been together for 40 years. Like, I just noticed the banner, it said like 40th anniversary. I'm brilliant, so I pick up on things even faster than his 6-year-old does. But yeah, like, I think, I'm sorry, like, what does he tell, like, if the kid is like, where do babies come from? What does he say then? And then just say, yeah, when two adults love each other, they can have a baby. And they want to have a baby, they have a baby. Which I think is maybe something that he's not familiar with. Two adults loving each other to have a baby. But I think like I love women having, like, girls and women learning from a young age that they don't have to tether themselves to men in order to create a child and or a family. And I think for someone like Snoop, who is like, really been elevated on the backs of women not having choice, and like women's pleasure and experience not being prioritized, like I think he's mad about that. He's like, no, I liked it when I could just talk about being a pimp and like treating women like bitches, and that is the world that I want to explain to my grandchild, not why are two women astronauts having a child, huh? What do I say? Like, oh my gosh, like
Snoop is just telling us, a bit more about his inner world, and he's somebody who, like you said, his whole career in hip hop and a lot of his songs, especially his youthful songs, the discourse around women, hoes and bitches and stuff, it's a certain way, and he's comfortable in that.
Exactly. Like I grew up learning from him and his friends that like being a pimp was something to aspire to, and that like I should want to be with a pimp. Like your flaw is that you are not a human trafficker. Like my mom had to explain to me, like when she of course heard like these different songs, she was like, what are you listening to? And I was like, what, Mom? What? So how come my mom had to explain to me what a human trafficker was? Because of Snoop.
Your mom explained what a pimp is?
Yeah, because I didn't understand why it was bad, because I just heard everyone talking about it and that like big pimping.
That's the whole thing, man. That's the whole thing. Like if you look seriously, if Snoop were to seriously look at himself, not just out at the world, there's a whole bunch of stuff that, and we're gonna, that he's not talking about, and it includes a whole bunch of stuff that he accepts that is totally morally awkward at the very least, if not wrong, and that he should have a struggle to talk to his child about in the same way.
The picture you used for the cover is of Snoop. He's wearing a gold chain with a gold gun on the end of it, and a blue sweatshirt that's supposed to look like, I think, like a Crips. I don't know which one is which. The blue gang.
Bandana was a blue bandana.
The blue gang, bandana sweatshirt,
and some very expensive, I don't know if it was gold or gold and diamond encrusted X, Y, and Z, but it was a chain with a gun on the end of it.
So what would his grandchild say? Like, Granddad, what's that? Why are you wearing a gun around your neck? Why are you wearing a chain around your neck, Granddad?
In this climate, in this reality
Dummy.
of
where Granddad
black, like death, black communities, mourning, intra-neighborhood crime and all these like children. We were on Uber yesterday, and the Uber driver out here in Baltimore, she was just ranting and raving about she grew up in Baltimore, loves Baltimore, but she's like, some of these kids, she don't understand the kids today. There's so many violence and so much comfort with violence. Like they lead with that. They lead with anger. She had a lot of theories. She's actually really funny.
What's interesting too? Like Snoop, like created in my mind the idea of like a bunch of men sitting in a room getting super fucking high, just smoking like huge blunt after huge blunt for hours, and just being like, and being so boring, and like expecting women to like want to hang out because they're rich. Like
they make music in that period. It's not, they don't just sit down like that. They make music.
I mean,
that's the room. That's what that room is. It's a studio, and they're making music, and then that makes the money, and then it floats around.
Yeah, I mean, like, what's the music that they're creating?
Yeah.
Like, and like, how is that helping? See, it's really harming the community, and he's just like making so much money. But yeah, that's the thing. That's the thing he's okay with explaining to his children, his grandchildren. Making money is the most important thing, because that's the other thing. Not only does he like wear his, a chain around his neck with a gun attached to it, he also is like, hey, Donald Trump, you want me to perform? You want me to tap dance? For these white people, I'll do it. Yep, yes, sir.
Not that performance, just I think he was a public. I think he turned around and became a Trump supporter at one point. I could be wrong with that. In fact, I feel like I should Google that. And like, either way, like what it is you see how we all get to craft our worlds together. We get to craft our worlds separately, actually. That's one of our powers. And for him, not only is gun culture acceptable and something to
teach to his grandchildren.
Not just gun culture, but like, thug culture, maybe.
Yeah.
Gang culture, you know? And then, but these other things. So now you externalize. So that's cool. That's something to internalize. You externalize something that is real, though, for women. Like some significant portion of the female population, the women's population, likes other women. That's part of what it means to be a woman. Like, that's what reality is. It's really not weird or crazy. We live in an age where we have technologies where people can do all kinds of things that you previously couldn't do. And one of them has to do with this. You can have, people can adopt. They've always been able to adopt, and now you can do even more. And you can have two women, two females, two people with, who
with
vaginas, and they can still raise a child together. And that's possible, and it can be explained. It's actually not that hard to explain. So we're just that's at the root of it. Is we're just watching him. He's just telling us about his inner experience
and his limitations, like his inability to parent, to be a good grandparent, a good model for his child. It's the gays' fault. It's the gay women's fault. Please, it was a movie about a group of toys that go to space, right?
Yeah.
How did you explain that? Like, isn't the child going to be really confused? He's like, why aren't my toys talking to me? Toy, talk to me. Like, is that like, or can he just be like?
It's a fantasy show. Like, he could say, well, it's a fantasy. It's all a cartoon.
Anything can happen. This is a made-up thing. Anything can happen in this world.
There's the desire for him, or the anxiety for him, doesn't allow him to like playfully engage with the truth of women and of lesbian couples.
And I think it also touches on this like thing that like that woman in the cars, was talking about. She was saying, I don't know, we just have this expectation that like parents aren't supposed to, adults aren't really supposed to evolve or grow or learn or expand in any way. Like, so when they're faced with a thing like a lesbian couple with a child, they're like, oh, how do I explain this to my child? Read a book.
It's there.
Google. You have all the world's knowledge at your fingertips.
There are things that are inexplicable.
There are lots of things. That isn't one of the, even close to one of them. And so like, skill issue. And I'm mad at the woman just like, just fawning.
So
like
the host, her job from like her end as on a production end, her job is not to, what was that? Was that not Entertainment Tonight? That was some other, I don't even know what show that was. But her job is to have a fun, playful engagement on camera and to hold a good relationship at the end of the day. Like, Snoop should leave feeling good about everything, about the conversation, no challenges. You call him up next time, he's down to have another playful conversation. So that's what that is. But you see how it's like, I want more from hosts. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
I want like an engagement with the stuff. You know what I mean? Like, what's going on there? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't even know really exactly what to say more than that about what I want more from hosts. Should we all be trying to challenge each other? I guess.
If your job is interviewing people, you're not supposed to just like, it's not supposed to just be a circle jerk, like masturbatory, whatever this person wants to say. You go, huh? Oh.
The challenge is, of course, if Snoop was, let's say he was a great deal more progressive and he was excited about that movie or some other expression of transness, and so you as the host, you would engage in it.
Exactly.
It would be your job to challenge him in that. So that's the.
It would be to be like let's talk about it. Like, because other rappers like Snoop don't know how to speak to their children about this. So if I had a person who was able to talk about it, I'd be like, oh, let's do this for posterity's sake. So now people, rather than just doing the thought-terminating cliche of like, oh, what do I tell my kids? Like, that's supposed to be like, a conversation over. Go read a book. Go figure it out.
You really,
and like,
it's right there.
It's literally, it's not. Also, even the way she was like sitting, like next to him, like, I know we're sitting side by side, but we're both the hosts, and like that way of doing, like, I have learned to do that when I'm trying to have a difficult conversation with someone, because it's hard. It's like if you're like facing each other like this, it's like a face off. It's easier to be like mad, but like if you're like this, it's like hard to be, you know, it like just diffuses kind of the tension.
Yeah.
Anyway, when I saw, I just like thought it was kind of strange the way the whole thing was framed too, because like also how it was, he couldn't like look her in the face like while he was like saying the thing, and I just think that like it takes, you can say more when you're not like looking at someone, you know, like
the thing with these, I don't know, I gotta look at the clip again, but I guess we could look at it again.
Yeah.
Just pull it right here.
yeah.
First, same.
It's like she's not in a position to have like a kind of,
Me in the middle of that I don't have an answer for.
The moment.
So they're sitting like this. Yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, I hear what you're saying. It's probably something with the camera. They wanted to get there. It's all set up for the purpose of the people on the back end, rather than a conversation. You know what I'm saying? It's set up for how to get the best shots. And I don't know what the room is and the space and shit like that.
yeah, but I'm just like, the interviewer's job is to engage, is to interview, is to and like unless she agrees,
That's the thing. Different interviews with different things, and she clearly, I think, agrees with him. So
which is actually interesting too. The woman we were talking to in the car, like we were talking about like the issues of like the young black people and you know how they act and stuff, but then like somehow found a way to bring it back to like how it's like how the LGBTQ people are bad.
She did do that.
And like,
How that happened.
and she brought up how like, man, these gays, like they can, you know, you can't say anything about them or you lose your job. And she brought up the baby, like who, like this thing 5 years ago, Dave Chappelle was like talking about, oh, it's so terrible taking the baby is fine. He's doing lots of things, but still stuck in her mind is this idea that the real issue in the black community, not the rappers, not the adults who are teaching the children, not the Zionists, not the Jewish supremacists, not white people, it's the gays. Black community, you distracted.
This is why, and we're gonna get to this in the second segment too, but like you are, it's more than just reading stuff from the New York Times or watching CNN or watching Snoop or these relationships, you're developing a world in accordance with them. They introduce words, you accept them, you accept a framework for what is, and we've accepted one that really is a distracting one, that puts us at odds with each other as black men and women, puts us at odds with like gay people in our black communities, and it distracts us entirely. So you hit the nail on the head. What's going on in the world? Why, like, such a meeting like that, again, there's a genocide, there's a encroachments on our free speech, there's creeping and encouraging fascism in the White House and in our media, and
in the music industry too, there's so much abuse and cheating and like capitalist and like brainwashing of our youth and our community.
It's what
and that
is fine.
That's fine. He'll accept
all
that.
of that to the grandkid.
I think it's really, he doesn't know how to make money off of lesbians.
How to make money off of lesbians?
He doesn't know how to make money off of women choosing to.
He not having kids. Yeah, no, but he had a porn. He had at least one porn, and he dabbled in the kind of sex space. You know what I'm saying? Public and there's lesbians in there, and he's cool with that, and he loves lesbians on porn. Like anybody, lesbians are great. But when you don't want the fullness of the lesbian, this is a problem. Cats want a specific kind of lesbian. You don't want that fat lesbian who is who is different from the sexy one that you envisioned. You know, you don't want the lesbian who is a mother. You don't want a lesbian who is a complex human who has all these needs. You want the one who is gonna do the nasty things
that makes your dick hard.
And like
I think that's the thing. He like sees other people as if they're not there to like give him pleasure. What are they doing? So he's like, wait, these women having a child on screen, how does this help me? And it's like, thank God he I think the Trump people who he would also happily serve, they would probably be like, the lesbian stuff, yes, but also like these interracial couples. They'd be like, why are they forcing that down their throat?
All of it.
Why are they?
All of it. Every time. Meanwhile, of course, if everybody was the same, you know, it was a heteronormative and just a white families everywhere all of the time.
That makes sense to him.
Nothing would be forced in their mind. Nothing would be forced. Everything that makes total natural sense. When in truth, the reality is that like the human conditions includes interracial marriages and couples. It includes intra-gender, intersex couples, and all kinds of things. Like, and you don't have to take that up. You know what I'm saying? And again, the key for me is like similar to Joe Budden on the thing we did last week. There's a real knowledge to. You look around the world is fucked up. There's all kinds of crazy things, and we're dissuaded from ever giving language to them. We're dissuaded and disincentivized and punished if some of us look over there and give language to the genocide and talk about it seriously.
Yeah.
And so what happens is we are all walking around unable to process certain realities and anxieties and problems that are occurring. We can't process it, so we channel it downward. You channel it to the people that you can talk about. And so lesbians, that's weird. Oh, it's not weird that every journalist in Gaza has been blown up. It's not weird that every hospital, that every human rights law and norm around even like war has been violated in this moment.
Yeah.
No one's even trying to talk about it. So that's the thing. You can't. To me, it's like you can't. How are we choosing the things that we get angry about? You know what I'm saying? What's underneath that? And we gotta like address. We gotta come to know that. That's how we know ourselves.
Yeah.
What are the shadow things that we're fearful about? Let's address that. That's how we move forward. That's the path forward, actually. Literally.
Yeah. I think you said like, you know, they kind of had this idea to like, oh, we can't talk about this or face this thing. So let's, you know,
focus on
the people that like we have more. And it's not that they can't. It's that they refuse to. They could, but they're like, ooh, no. Let's do what white people have taught us and punch down. Let's go find the people with less power and try to keep them beneath us. And
they told a story that is very, you know, some very powerful and rich people feel very serious and emotional, and they're committed to something. Don't. You know, you're not powerful enough to use your own eyes and articulate things. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it makes it, and it's the whole get the bag idea. Like you never make a choice that could injure a potential sort of wealth or contract in the future. Never make that choice. So you continue to do that. You just continue to carve out this little tiny space of what is possible, which is all the time dictated by someone above you, some other potential employer.
Yeah. And it's funny, it's like, you know, if they want help, like explaining, like what say it was for money. That was the most financially sound choice these two women could make. If we had this get in the bag culture where we know you can do anything you do in pursuit of money is okay. And,
yeah.
There you go. They probably make a lot of money being astronauts, and so when people want to make a lot of money, they do. I don't know. Also, like, I think also
very circuitous logic and
yes, because this is absurd and stupid, and like we're supposed to accept his logic as
anytime anything is related to some sort of commerce making money, cats accept it. Oh, that makes sense.
I'm like literally giving your like the
murder makes sense.
Exactly.
And violence and all kinds of like exclusion makes sense in pursuit of money.
Exactly. But I think in the Black community especially, like we, you know, I think I see Keke Palmer voiced something in this film, and was it Chloe or Hallie? I don't know. But they're like just Naomi Osaka, just a lot of high profile like Black women, celebrities who are, you know, like left to be baby mamas, so like left to be single mothers, and are really mistreated by the men they've had children with. And that, I think, is what the Black community is used to seeing. You know, we're not used to seeing a Black woman having a person that loves her and stays with her 40 years, and has a child with them and they're happy. That's not an experience that most black women have. And like,
is that statistically true? I mean, certainly I can speak to my family and my, the certain groups I grew up as a child. Without a doubt, every marriage was broken.
And like, how did the adult men explain that to the children?
That's the thing, you're hitting the nail. You explain it, you figure it out, or you don't explain it. You just move on. Mm-hmm. It's a part of life. And what I'm trying to say,
literally, it's a part of life.
This is a part of life.
Yeah.
Women loving each other is a part of life, and then women either adopting or in vitro fertilization or some other technique to then have a child to raise together. That's a part of life, and it's very viable. And it exists. And you have to address whatever static or issue or triggers or challenges, whatever it is, whatever logic, moral challenges you are dealing with. That's your own. You know what I'm saying? And that's what love is actually. And to note all the things you fucking do accept. Note all the things you just accept is part of what reality is.
Yeah, and even like how he handled it. He said, just watch the movie. If his grandson had said, hey, granddad, how do rockets work? He also would have been like, oh shit, I don't know how fucking rockets work. Just watch the movie. It doesn't have to be this big moral, they're shoving it down our throats thing. It doesn't have to be a big deal. And like, it made me think of like, my brother-in-law. I have a pole in my room because in our living room because one day I expect to learn, to use it and stuff. But now I just like give it a couple spins. When my nieces come over, I like lift them up on me and I like spin around the thing. They love it. It's so fun. It's a pole that spins around.
It's fantastic.
Exactly, great for stretching to many uses. Okay, and so my brother-in-law like saw it and he was like, what did he say? Like something like, how do you like explain, what these are used for to the girls? And I'm like, I've seen the girls playing around in your marital bed every day. How do you explain to them what actually goes on here? How they became to be? Like, shut the hell up. A lot of adult men have this idea that like they know how best to parent, and if they don't know how to do something, it must be wrong or immoral or something. But I'm like, y'all are making it sexualized. Y'all are making it weird.
That's the perfect example of a comeback, because look, the pole has this representation with stripping and sex work, but this pole actually is athletic. Its usage here is athletic and fun, and in either case, it's a pole. It's what we bring to it. It's inherently neutral. Conversations have to get down to, and I feel like we missed it so much because the symbol, what we're looking at, it's inherently neutral, and then we bring stuff to it. And as a man, I can attest to him. We grew up. We still hear it. I'm still in chat groups with cats who say stuff like, who are now parents, who say stuff like, your one goal as a father is to keep your daughter off the pole. That's your one goal as a father. It's the primary goal. And so they come to something like this pole, and it's very hard to pull that away because, but he actually was cool about it. He actually saw, he doesn't grab them up and make them leave the pole or anything like that. He understands that, but he did ask that question.
But maybe if I wasn't as witty.
No, exactly. It shows the challenge of the work that we all need to be doing. The point really is to be at ease. You know what I'm saying? Like, to see the child doing that and be swinging happily on the pole and to be at ease, to not project the thing. Another perfect example is a friend of mine, one of these dudes I went to high school with, who's on these chats, and he. There was a video of like this girl, like a small girl, like 5 years old, 3 years old, shaking her body and kind of twerking. It looked as if she was twerking. She was doing a couple things and then she'd get into twerk. And there was a big energy and a big sort of anger around, like, who taught her that? And without a doubt, perhaps she saw it somewhere. But you have like, this child is like moving her body. She was younger than 5.
That's literally what dancing is. Like, especially when you don't have like a body, when you're like, your body is small. Literally all you can do is kind of wave your arms, do this, like
bouncing,
moving her body. You have now sexualized a child. You're now looking at her as doing something immoral somehow, which even the idea of twerking is immoral. We have to free ourselves from these shackles of shame and fear of sex and fear of our bodies and our autonomy. It's really,
as immoral comes from, again, the storytellers, black male, white male storytellers who take the pen and who give language to what they're observing, and they don't like this autonomy, this feminine autonomy, this OnlyFans kind of thing. So twerking becomes the problem in the world instead of all these other problems, these actual problems.
Yeah. They want women to go back to, you know, where their aspiration was to be shackled in domestic servitude. Just a broodmare, you know.
There's actual people that actually literally want that. If you go on Twitter, you can find
literally
very quickly
so many
underneath a Stephen Miller comment or Trump, some of the Trump stuff, some of these right wingers in the cable news space. They want to eliminate your right to vote. They want to eliminate your right to contraceptive and to, you know, other kinds of like maternity health care. All because they think it's important to reestablish masculine control of the politics, and women have gotten out of hand, and it's all this projection shit. Now I think that's some fucking people, and then there are other people who they're not that politically wound up. They just simply
they're just copying.
They're just copying. Yeah. There's a mood about, you know, what's wrong in the world, and it keeps pointing back to y'all because, again, rich white men never point to themselves.
Exactly.
Rich black men don't seem to point to themselves.
Yeah. Men struggle to point to themselves. And like, I feel like sometimes when we try to talk about like, hey, men are 90% of the murderers, responsible for the overwhelming a number of assaults, rapes, all of these things. And we can never really talk about it because men will be like, well, not all men, women are bad too, and we're not actually. Like, if women were 90% of the murderers, I think then we could talk about, like, hey, there's a problem with the women, but like, that's men, and we need to talk about them.
It just gets adopted in. It's like, yeah, that's, you know,
exactly.
Boys will be boys, men, violence is a thing, and they're gonna try to get them one by one.
Which is crazy too, because like,
instead of talking about making a systemic effort, which they'll do systemically to make sure that queer people feel ill at ease.
Literally.
You know, all these things.
And think about it, like, if, you know, a bear, if like a couple bears had like murdered half, like, you know, 20% of humans or something, and other bears, we would euthanize all bears. We would make the entire species go extinct, okay? And like that, when it comes to trying to hold men to account for the behavior and what they're doing, then it's all, oh, nothing we can do.
Yeah, so I mean,
nothing. It's crazy to even talk about. Nothing we can do. It's always going to be like that. So might as well make the women change their behavior. Like,
it's always that. It's always outside. Whatever group always sees the issues from the outside.
You know, it sucks too, problem. Like that, like a young, presumably black boy, didn't feel inspiration from like the black astronaut, the two black astronauts in this room, like in this movie. Like, shouldn't that be cool? Shouldn't?
I mean, you'd be inspired by something and then have your little thing. I don't even know if that. I mean, I guess let's just assume the story was real. You look at there's also, it seems those are two men back there.
I think that's a woman.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think it's an Asian woman.
Okay, short hair possibly. Okay.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. I really think it's important to note this feature of reality where we are creating our anxieties.
Yes, and it's like, it's...
Snoop probably thinks he's an expert too on youthful things because he's engaged in like a lot of youth sports stuff. He's got a youth football league, at least one youth, if not two, youth-oriented stuff, right? He's got a whole empire, frankly. He's done quite a lot.
It's like, I think the youth, our black youth, are really good at playing football. I don't think any of our issues are related to our inability to play football.
Youth football is important because it gives kids like a chance to like do something, be organized, and you know, form team bonds.
I think they're great at that, and then they grow up to be people who use that skill of team bonding and organizing to support wealthy men. And so people like, Snoop, but like Diddy and all of the politicians, like men, like these boys learn that your job is to do whatever an adult man says. And when an adult man says to use your body, work with other men to, cause harm, keep people down, stop people from progressing. Yes, sir, we do that. And so, like, I just think we're really good.
You talking about the military?
I'm talking about all of these systems, like Diddy, the system, the music industry, which is, a bunch of wealthy men at the top exploiting the people at the bottom, making them do whatever they want, use their bodies however the wealthy men say, and stay quiet about it. Like, even if you don't want it, you get up and you do it. And like, I think the black community is great at that. I think black men are really good at doing what they're told. So, thank you, Snoop Dogg, for making sure we have another generation of black boys who just shut up and do what they're told.
The tough thing is, like, do what you're told. I mean, Snoop, it's just a complex thing. Snoop's a multimillionaire who's gonna be. I saw he had the Snoop Dogg. He had a bowl game. Like, I remember, I grew up where bowl games were the purview of like big companies. Tostitos had a bowl game, shit like this. I think Snoop had his own bowl game, and he's an icon. And he's just telling us what his inner experience is. I do wish it was a little bit better. I wish he wasn't so ill at ease with the human relationship. And with
consensual like adults,
families and things
exactly, like showing love and creating a family.
At the root of it, I don't know what his faith is or if he has one or where it goes. I'm pretty sure it's like Christian.
I'm sure it's money.
Or something. And it's engaged with money because a lot of, he's a multimillionaire, but like, at the root of it, people have this natural sort of, like I said, ill at ease. They get uncomfortable around
things they haven't seen before. Because we don't see how all of these movies, us growing up, we're shoving heterosexuality and heteronormativity down our throat, and we don't see that as having it being shoved down our throat because it's been so successful that it's the air we breathe now. And so now we see something that actually is more representative of what reality is. That it's not just this sea of heterosexual people in this man and woman relationship. That's not what's real, but that's what's been put down our throat. And it's so annoying. Like, none of our issues are related to lesbians. Not a one. And if anything, I bet a lot of the solutions that we're looking for are related to understanding, celebrating, and creating space for lesbians.
Accepting truth, which is always accepting the under class distinctions, the undergrouping.
Yeah, I was annoyed with that woman.
That's what is. Yes. That's what's lacking in our broader sense. And if you're a black person, you understand this, that there's the same sort of anxiety you might have on this lesbian couple. This is the anxiety that white people have about encroaching blackness and people moving into neighborhoods and relationships that they don't understand, interracial or otherwise. It's always someone failing to, like, having their own personal, like, failing to merge reality with their own ideal.
Yeah.
And that's what we're seeing here. So, Snoop, it is what it is. It's going to be hard for him to not feel like it's just his opinion. Because any attacks he gets on this is going to feed further this idea that, man, they're just shoving it down his throat. He can't even have his own feelings, and his own challenges with his grandson,
I think that's the thing, too, we touched on with this woman we were talking to in the car, about how, the LGBT community, stands up for themselves. When someone says something ill of them, tries to saddle all the ills of society on them, or they're just being, they're like, don't bring that about me. Don't talk about me like that. And I think the black community is a little jealous that we're not having it modeled that, anti-blackness is worth being like, don't talk about me like that. I'm not going to work for you. I'm not going to be around you. I'm going to withhold my labor if you do something racist. Instead, he models, no. You go to, if Donald Trump comes a calling, you go, yes, sir. What do you want me to do? Which song do you want me to do? Drop it like it's hot? You'll love it. You'll love it.
It's a very intentional, it's a thing. I mean, it has to do a little bit with organization on an individual level.
Shouldn't we be great at organization, all the football we do?
But beyond that, it has to do with a broader, like, political, like, yeah, I mean, the two political parties, the media, we've been very intentionally made very fractured and unable to stand up. We self-impose a lot of the stuff that then it's hard when someone else, like again, these other groups can say, hey, no, you're not going to talk about this stuff.
Don't do that.
We sort of just take it on. We take it on. We say, oh.
Literally, we take it on as like a what did one of these dudes say? Like, you know, we have thick skin. Like, okay, like cool, no rights, but the ability to endure unacceptable treatment.
The problem is, again, if you look at that room when we talk about Joe Budden, we're going to switch to the next thing, but like even that room with Joe Budden and Mark Lamont Hill, we should be listening to Mark Lamont Hill more than Joe Budden, like a great deal more. The things, the boundaries that Mark Lamont Hill is holding up, the focus, the frames of observation, and that's what we should be focusing on. But there's no comparison between the audience that Mark Lamont Hill gets regularly and the audience that Joe Budden gets regularly. And that's part of our problem.
But it's interesting, the connection between Joe Budden and, you know, Snoop is they're both, you know, their issue is like, how do I go on? How do I talk about an issue that's, you know, like Joe Budden doesn't know how to all of your colleagues were murdered. What do I talk about after that? And, you know,
they don't know how to talk about serious and important things.
Exactly.
We've inherited this. We've been given this, frankly. I think Snoop and Joe, hip hop industry, you know, funded by a higher tier group of wealthy individuals who, what they're doing is they front different quote unquote artists and allow them to continue to be artists, and
icons.
And it's been well documented too how certain, like, give me more blackness. What defined as what? Defined as struggle, defined as hood, defined as violence,
defined as this like mental, you know, box. Like, you know, Joe Budden doesn't know how to talk about people being killed, huh? And like Snoop Dogg, he had women loving each other. What? Let's talk about guns. Let's talk about other men who rap and how they're rapping together. That's what black men can that's what their brains can handle. And it's really freaking sad. It's really, really sad.
And it is, because we're talking about hip hop sort of in the interview scene and sort of like in real life, but even down to the art form, you know, like the frames of what is given to us repeatedly on the radio. Everyone sees it. It's poison. We're told that, and I had to experience this as a new rapper, as a relatively new to me. I had to notice my anxiety as I'm trying to talk about things related to my life, or about the cosmos, or about theories of philosophy and relationships and love. And like, saying that's okay. I have this thing where I need to put in a gun bar. I need to put in some kind of a coke bar or something, because there's an authenticity requires that, as opposed to, you know what I'm saying?
I think of it like,
God, I quickly got rid of that. I'm in the space I'm at, but yeah.
Like Lauryn Hill's like, you add a motherfucker so these ignorant niggas hear me.
Yeah.
But like, actually, maybe they're not supposed to hear you. Your stuff is for, what's the opposite of ignorant? It just intelligent, wise people, smart people. Your music is for wise people.
Yeah.
And I think, some people's music is for YNs.
The impulse to try to meet the YNs.
Yeah.
See, but that's a construction. See, so I don't even want to like actually fuck with that. It's for the YNs. The YNs was created for us. Motherfuckers adopted it, and yes, cats are trying to make music for the YNs. Mm-hmm. Cats are trying to make music for, you know, the dudes who put money up to their heads and point guns to the camera and things like this.
I think
as a performance, literally, it has real implications.
Yeah, I think a lot of people like struggle right now to receive your music because they're taught like, no, I'm supposed to I'm supposed to like the YN. That's the culture now. You know, it's like we used to be pimps. Now we're YNs.
How do you just assume whatever the culture is? Like, do you notice that? Do you notice how much of a vessel you are, and how things you receive the external world and shapeshift and begin to enjoy it, begin to perform it, or enjoy it, receive it, or start to give it out to the world? What of your own internal intuitions and truths have you brought to the thing, and how much have you conceded that to the external thing? How much can you flip the tide and be more of yourself? Like, I think that's very much needed, and that's going to go into our second segment on the YN. On the YN, applause for that. Here's the second one. This is my dude Kyrie Irving
from the Houston Panthers.
No.
I don't know. I don't know if that's right.
Split screen.
I don't know if you have it right, babe.
Here we go.
Like the YNs, I don't support that YN generation, y'all. I'm apologizing ahead of time if you're a YN and you love that name, bro. But that YN's like, I'm good, bro. I'm good, bro. I love God too much to be a YN. I'm just put it at that, bro. I love myself too much to be a YN, bro. You can call me an your YOG, whatever it is, but that whole, like, we have a common enemy, and y'all want to, you know what, y'all want to kill our own people, dog. Like, come on. I'm good. Anybody killing our own people? Again, I know war is war. I'm not getting into any gang politics. I shout out to all and salute to all the OGs out there that's really putting the morals and principles into these youngins and putting their best foot forward and being family men. But yeah, that generation, this young, I'm good, bro. I'm good. Y'all can have that name. Y'all can have that shit. I don't want nothing. I don't anything to do with it. I'm not connected to it. Nothing.
Yeah. What do you think? I guess I'll go first. I'm glad he said it. I've been saying it myself. You know, I think that words matter, and they matter much more than we understand. Certainly much more than I was taught. I've come to understand it a great deal more. I think most of us are kind of behind on our understanding of how these words matter and the ways that we talk about ourselves. And I don't know who originated YN, but we know where nigger originated. We know what nigger originated and meant. I don't think we ever properly appropriated it and revitalized it and made it into something fraternal. I don't think we did that. I think that we told ourselves that story.
Yeah, we lied to ourselves.
But we haven't done that. No one's done that. I think that if we're just in terms of the music and hip hop culture, let's stay there for a second. I think sometimes we talk about my nigga and my friends and my nigga this and that. But I think
Joe Budden was talking about it.
80% plus of the time, nigga is a referral to somebody you're committing harm to, or somebody you hate, somebody's an op or something like this. And I think the YN, there's a reason the YNs aren't, why there isn't like 80% or 100% college graduation rate among YNs. You know what I'm saying? Something like this. There's a reason why YNs are the mascot for a YN wears that mask, and the parents and has a gun and this and that, and is a kind of a threatening, menacing figure. Because we transferred that on to the kids, and there are white people who are excited about how flippant and undiscerning we are, and how we are now passing it on to the children. We look at children and we label them that, so that when they know that they are that they will perform that in the world. And so we saddled them with that, and I think he's right about it.
Yeah, I think that's my one thing though, is like the children are doing what the adults taught them. So even like Joe Budden last week, what did he call Mark Lamont Hill?
This nigga Mark.
And so the children are literally just like, oh yeah, I'm just like a little version of you guys' uncle, like, and so like it's a little disingenuous for like wealthy celebrity black men to.
Kyrie was not it. He's on it. Kyrie's been that way. Kyrie's. I know what you're about to say, but not Kyrie, right?
I think if you are successful in a world that thrives on calling your peers, calling each other the N-word, and now you're mad because the young children are doing what your peers are doing.
Yeah.
I think we, I think we let wealthy men do whatever, and like they do the minimum, and we're like,
Yeah.
and so, but also, I think it's, we grew up where boys were trying to be human traffickers. They were trying to be pimps. Their goal was to force a woman to have sex with other men for money and take part of her money. And pimp slap, I know what that is. I know slap a hoe. It's just like it was funny, right? And so to see like men who have had a lot of success, despite this, like kind of being like, and like even the thing like I'm good, like that still is like a malaise, and just it's yeah, I don't know.
It's a stance. It's a public stance, and it's valid. It's important because Kyrie, just like these other people, Kyrie's looked up to. He's made it. He stands on business. He actually, he's not someone who says nigga flippantly. Never did, and he's also able to in the NBA, because they can't do anything to him because he's one of the best to ever do it. He goes to his press conferences with his keffiyeh on, with his statements for pro-Palestine, and they have to deal with him.
So I would be curious if I was looked up to, if I was an example, and I still saw most, like, or a large majority of black boys calling themselves YNs. I would be like, maybe I'm not actually having the impact I could, because I'm not really embodying it. I'm not really standing on it, and I'm not using my power. I'm using it in a way that, like, keeps me in the good graces of the white men that pay me a lot of money.
I hear you. I agree with you most of the time. Many of the time, Snoop is an example. If Snoop were to have an issue on something, there's a lot of people I could go to. For Kyrie, because we were watching the Kyrie clip, I feel this urge to remind us that Kyrie, I think, has just always embodied just his incredible talent in the basketball court, and so he's defined his blackness and his pride for himself. He's done the research, he's gone back into himself, and I just think he's more complex than that person that you're describing.
Yeah. But
there's lots of examples of that person that you're describing. Way too many.
I think too, like I don't like athletes and rappers, musicians being the role model for the black community. Just I think a lot of his love for himself comes because he's been compensated a lot for his ability to play a game. And so if he didn't have that, would he love himself as much? Would he have as much ability to be like, no, I'm not that. Like, so this is another thing that the woman was talking about. She's like, how are these, like, they like don't care, and they just have these masks and things. And I was saying, like, well, I think they're like they don't have a future, really. There's nothing, like, loving relationships are not for them, like, are not going to be there for them. They're not going to own homes. They're probably not going to survive that long. So they're, they don't see value in their lives.
For sure.
And
I grew up in that with a sense of, like, mortality and how fragile things are, and like I grew up around guys who used to say fuck it, yeah, they didn't care much about stuff, so they would get into fights quickly, they would be quick to pull out a weapon, and quick to anger. That was part of the masculine performance, and I really just think it all evolves. We have to, I'm a little bit beyond after the pimp stuff. Certainly the pimps who dressed up like that, like, I'm born in 82, so it was more like this hood, it was really, the hood switched into like the pimp player, hustler, kind of Jay-Z brought in the hustler thing where you bring,
it's like you make your money off of the, drugs and human trafficking, and then you have the money now, so now you like buy cars, you buy houses,
you invest,
you create things like Diddy, like the empires, the mogul era, but it's still like Love and Hip Hop. And which I haven't really seen, but like Love and Hip Hop and Basketball Wives, I don't know if they're like kind of the same energy.
This is a whole other episode we can devote to Love and Hip Hop.
Exactly, I love it, but like I think they're both kind of like those are the cultures that have been modeled for children. Is that like, as long as you can play basketball well, as long as you can like rap and get the attention of one of these, you know.
And make sure you stand out. So be very big, like be very strange. Like find a very interesting way to
get white people's attention, because it's not just stand out, because like lesbians stand out, lots of people stand out, but it's a very specific, the performance of blackness that like white people want to pay for and disseminate. And so these black people get to this height where they have all the money that should be able to save them from, you know, the traps of poverty and this like hood life, but they still just recreate it.
We recreate all kinds of stuff, and then we tell ourselves that it's, and you can engage it and call it black culture one way or another. You can call it black. I'm doing it for the culture. You know, there's a dude on YouTube who I get occasionally, or on Facebook, he pops up. Where he interviews these girls and he tries to touch their butts and shit, and then he says, some of them are like, yeah, of course. And then he always asks. Most of them are like, cool. And occasionally some say no, and then he'll go, for the culture. And some of them go, okay, fine. What does it mean? What is the culture? What are we pointing to? What does it mean? What is it? And so the challenge is that the word means absolutely nothing until you actually try to define it. And for the most part, and again, we live in this era now where people are getting famous on their own. People are being tastemakers on their own. They're defining those words. They're becoming popular. But we're coming out of an era where it was bottlenecked. It was bottlenecked by chosen people, chosen by white people who then, look, love and hip hop, I can tell you from a production standpoint, the way they produce that, the back end, the edits, the different kind of, it's very different from the way they edit stuff, in a different project. They prime people up. They're looking for.
They're like, hey, why don't you talk about this? They're like, why don't you? Did you hear this person said this? What do you think about? And they like get them drunk too.
And we just don't have we didn't have the control of it. And I'm fearful that now that we do have control, like again, we talk about it. People have podcasts. People are creating interesting things. We are recreating. We're not being creative about the presentation. We're like, okay, this is black. We're gonna feed more of the black thing. We're gonna be, BET. I mean, it's just a wild bunch of stuff.
Sorry, just trying to I don't know why this is bothering me so much. I'm wearing it backwards. I realized actually, so it's just.
Are you serious?
Yeah, but it's okay. It still works.
Still works.
It's so I'm always, I feel like, coming to the aid the like side of the young people, because like they are literally just doing what the older people are doing, but probably in a more a better way, a more precise way. They're like, they maybe are performing YNs, whereas the older generation would actually carry around guns and get into gun violence. And
not carrying around guns, getting into gun violence. That's what we're talking about. That's what
right, and because they're learning it from the adults. Yes, and so like I think it'll be smarter for us to change the adults rather than be like, why are the kids like this? Like, because we taught them to be like that. We created a world that was unsafe for them to be outside on the street and to be inside in the home, and they're trying to figure out how to stay safe. They're trying to act like you guys. They're trying to, and like they're getting money from adults in order to keep doing this thing. So what are they doing wrong?
That caricature is one that is sort of in demand.
Yes.
You can play that role. You got a role in a movie or a show or some of these skits on YouTube and some of these things on TikTok. There's a caricature for that. Now you're a black guy who has some other, nerdy inclinations and things you want to talk about. I don't know. Will you be cast more often? Do we have the archetype for that is accepted, and we accept. We just saw again Mark Lamont Hill gets shut down and sort of scoffed at and laughed at, and for trying to address broader, bigger, larger, more complex, deeper truths in the conversation of blackness,
And so I think if the goal is to make money, is being a YN making them money? Because I think like the goal is kind of to make enough money so then you can be yourself. Then you can be weird and do what you want and no one can say anything. But you do have to make money first. And so like we teach them like you're supposed to perform, be it perform like this respectability politics or perform this YN pimp, you know, get money kind of thing. Do the performance so that you can get in good with the Diddies and the, you know, Zionists, and then, like, that's the dream, actually.
Yeah, I mean, even, I don't know, the kids in I don't know who, obviously it's a big thing we're talking about, of, like, people who have this potential of what you're talking about. But you said, like, you know, some of the kids in Baltimore, cities, urban neighborhoods who are really at risk of death, I mean, they're not even thinking about that. They're just, this is what it is. They're black, they're in a community, you know, education is low, prospects out are low. It's just what it is. Like, you know, you have to get tough or you're gonna get beat up in these neighborhoods. And this is what it is. You join in with this thing. And the adults have accepted it. The adults have given it a cute name.
Mm-hmm.
And the adults, the black comedians are very adept at like normalizing all kinds of like fun things about YNs.
So it's like, yeah, are the children wrong?
Elevate a full picture of what black people are and what black people could be. That's very important. You can't be stuck on this thing.
Yeah.
You know. So who's engaged in that project? I don't know. I think I'm engaged in that project.
Us.
And I think many more people need to be engaged in that project to envision something bigger than what is, something better than what is, give language to that, normalize, elevate that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
that's what he's talking about with the YN stuff, because the mascot for it is the mask, the all black, it's the saggy pants and that walk and that dangerous walk, that dangerous look, the willingness to rob, like, and to pull out a weapon, you know what I'm saying?
That's like
quickly.
what you guys did in New York when you were growing up.
Yeah, because that was the performance.
So
And
it sounds like,
quick to anger. So this is a
yeah,
focused version of that. It's even more.
if anything, it's kind of better. Like, great, if I see someone with a mask carrying a large gun, I'm staying away. As opposed to when you guys were growing up and the point was to like be physically intimidating people and in a way that like, you know, you couldn't really escape. So I like it. I like, wear a costume, please. Just don't
be better. Be better. Define yourself for yourself.
And it's tough because like they're gonna have to blaze the trail because there really aren't that many.
That's what we have to be empowering young people to do.
Yeah, we have, like they have to blaze the trail, and they really like, you don't want to wait for the adults to get it together.
You don't want to wait for the adults. You don't want to be asking the adults, you know, what is an acceptable, cool way to live. They don't have answers. You know, like, you'll have to navigate this world and stay true to yourself and stay grounded in love. You know what I'm saying? And
that's a tough thing because I don't think we're grounded in love. We're taught to love. We're certainly not taught to love ourselves. So, you know, we didn't see it modeled by our parents loving themselves. So it is going to be really hard for the kids. And so like that's why I have grace for them, because also I tried on a lot of costumes when I was a child too, and I had to do these things so I could see what worked and what didn't, you know. And yeah, I think that's what you should do.
That's what life is.
Yeah.
But note that, you see how, again, I don't know if Snoop, in terms of YNs, the Snoop challenge, does he have a challenge articulating what's going on there? You know,
which is so funny.
Totally fine. You see what I'm saying? Because then what happens is, you know, his grandson understands what a YN is and its potential thing, what a gangster is, an OG, and this kind of performance of masculinity. But he knows not to accept lesbians. You know what I'm saying? He knows not to accept queerness. You know?
Yeah, I don't get that at all. Like, it just literally doesn't make any sense. Like, none of, like, it just, you know, especially like Snoop Dogg's grandson, like he probably lives just like a very privileged life, where it just, yeah, it's just like, wow.
You see how the privilege stuff sometimes doesn't necessarily, if the markers and the social markers are still there, people can be born quite privileged and still feel committed to some sort of a identity marker of how to perform,
Yeah,
and it
totally.
won't make sense. And you be like, yo, motherfucker, you privileged as fuck. You go to private school. You're rich. You're gonna be good to go. Your family's plugged in, and yet, why are you doing this?
I think too, like certainly in the Black community, like we've been taught that to be Black is to have this like story of struggle, and you're from the hood, and you grew, like every day was a struggle, and everyone was always trying to, and like that's just not the experience for a lot of Black children now, which is great.
To go,
but
what it is,
you know,
so
they
you can't be attached. You can't be attached to other performers. You have to be attached to what is.
Yeah,
That's what the healthiest.
literally. But that's not what we're taught to. Like we're you know, we were raised by people who loved performance, who said the most important thing is to perform, and you know, to pretend, and so.
And Black people are also the pioneers of performance and arts. Black people are at the heights of, you know what I mean? Like our celebrity culture sets the tone for America and for the world. And most of the Black millionaires, billionaires, I believe, are entertainment rather than some other industry. So all of that is there. There's something interesting we could say about that. I don't really know exactly, except I want to say this, that there's the entertainment, and then there's like the politics of Black politics, and that's a different thing. And then there's the, you know, our identities are really wrapped up in the pronouncements of Snoop Dogg and of like Boosie and other people. You know, that stuff gets mad traction. When Boosie has an issue with something in the world, our Black media picks it up and starts to tell us about
Like-
the thought process, and cats have to process that. So that,
Like, isn't he like an ON? Just like old nigga.
yeah, I don't know how old Boosie is, but yeah, I mean,
I think the how he treats himself so unlovingly has aged him a lot. He looks really. Every time I see him, I'm like, oh God.
he's got the eyes.
Exactly. I'm like, oh, he looks really bad.
But you know, he's an interesting case of you know, Black celebrity.
Do you know? Guess how old Boosie is?
How old?
Guess.
I'm 42. I'm gonna go with 47.
He's 1 month younger than you.
Oh really?
42, but born in November.
Yeah.
So he looks really bad. He looks tired. He looks like he's lost a lot of family members. So he's got like an emotional heaviness to it, you know, like he looks like.
Been through a lot, but he's also been quite. You know, the celebrity status of his is now for years. I remember Free Boosie. That was how long? That was like decades ago. Free Boosie campaigns. He was in jail.
Yeah, it's like, you know, I feel bad that like boys, Black boys, like their aspiration, like, is Boosie supposed to be a model, a role model for them?
I mean, anybody. This is one of the things. Anybody who is visible becomes a potential role model. Visibility creates this influence on a level that we can't fully grasp with, and your visibility forces people to contend with you, and many people will either be attracted and sort of pull stuff from you, or they'll reject, you know what I'm saying, and they'll form themselves in opposition to what they're seeing from you. But yeah, Boosie's a celebrity. What's good?
Okay, I'm just like, you know, I'm like, ooh.
I'm not gonna get this shit on Boosie here.
Okay,
Yeah.
but all right. So first of all, his parents. He grew up in Louisiana, Baton Rouge, which I've been to. His mother was a school principal, and his father was a pastor. Okay, he was introduced to a rapper in the late '90s, and then he joined a group called Concentration Camp.
Clever. That's what he's dealing with. I mean, obviously, concentration camp is a terrible thing, but you know, camp. There was a lot of groups called Boot Camp Clique and Flipmo Squad. So concentration camp might be clever. I'm trying to. I don't know what the music was back then. I don't know what they were making with. So.
Yeah,
Anyway,
I mean, in 2000, I think it was like really bad, and in 2009, what did he go to jail for? Murder?
Sentenced to 4 years on drug and gun charges. Later received a 10-year sentence for multiple drug possession charges.
face charges of murder and conspiracy. Yeah. Anyway, was he an OM? Is he like someone?
He's freer. See, the problem is the label on these young kids is a fucking problem because they're grappling with it in a different way. Whatever you call Boosie's fine. He's a multimillionaire, I believe, who's doing okay, who's navigating stuff and is, figuring things out. When you put that on a little 12-year-old kid, a little 13-year-old kid, and they see it all around them, and you've really actually limited the performance, and you've told them that certain performances are off limits. What is masculine, what is right, who you are. They need a free and open mind and open slate, and I think we do them a disservice. So I fuck with what Kyrie was saying there.
So I also, I think it's bad to, box in the children, but then we also have Snoop. So it's like, you can be a rapper, a straight cis-het rapper, and you can't be gay. Because like, if the lesbians are bad, then of course the gay men are bad. You couldn't even talk about that.
I mean, growing up, for sure, cannot be gay. Being gay is a person. But now it's definitely evolved. There are people who are proudly gay, and,
yes.
And I hope that anyone who is gay can like be inspired to be
I guess I just see it like, I see the children as less limited. Like us growing up, we didn't have the idea that you could be trans, that you could literally transition your gender to something other than what was assigned to you. And so like these children now, like I know a lot of people have this struggle with how, free they are in expressing their gender, in their sexuality, in changing it. And so I'm not worried about them trying on this costume for a couple of years and then being like, okay, no, this is a different one. I think our generations are the ones who are just really entrenched in, this is what I learned growing up, and this is who I am now. And so we have, these guys are just kind of like the same as they were when they were kids, and they made a lot of money doing this performance they did when they were children. So of course they're going to keep doing that as adults. And I think, on some level, like hopefully like these kids aren't going to like make that much money from it. So they'll be like, okay, doesn't make money, let me try it this way.
I get what you're saying. It's sort of, but just in terms of like, because you're putting the emphasis back to the older people. I get that, but like
we're the ones with the power.
So everybody has to grow up, and I've asked people not to watch CNN, and I still see motherfuckers sharing CNN articles and shit like this. So
the children aren't watching CNN.
Exactly.
So that's what I'm just saying. I'm like, the adults need to like. The call is coming from inside the house. Like, if the children are doing anything, it's trying to be accepted by us, and the YNs recognize that like that is something that enough adults will co-sign and
stop co-signing everything.
Yeah.
Stop co-signing everything.
Yeah.
You are actually the architect of it. You're the writer.
And if you're going to not co-sign something, don't just make it be LGBT hate. Don't, like, why is that the thing everybody has to co-sign? Like, it's the one thing we can all agree is that, like, the gays are going too far. Babe,
Notice
that's not the issue.
You're quick to talk about the gays, but still won't say anything to a Zionist. How serious are you about whatever it is that's motivating you, your biblical claims? There are lots of things that God and Jesus wanted. So just notice that. I think it's like it's not serious. Everything is actually back to us. Everything is about us, actually. So
exactly, it's so true. It is back to us, and like I'm thinking of Joe Budden's podcast. It's supposed to be this really popular one of the ones that's kind of like aspirational, I assume.
Yeah.
And they're modeling for the children that if you're a black man, you know about Lil Baby, you know about like the rappers, what they're doing, and you don't do any internal introspection though. That's not what we need. We need you to perform hip hop, kind of like laziness. This, and like, oh, you go to a movie and it's gays. What?
The entire spectrum of like valuable effort.
Yeah.
Is about making money.
Yes.
And so you don't want to do anything that would injure any lucrative relationships, and you don't want to delve into politics because again, you cut yourself off from.
Yeah.
But the world is what it is, and the world is affecting all of us, and that everything I just described there. Some people call that white. I actually lead away from that because I don't think it's accurate enough. But this is a white. People are using white that way. It's not trying to explain to somebody like we're talking about a Eurocentric philosophy that focuses on making wealth and excludes whole massive parts of reality in service of money.
Yeah, totally. So I think with Kyrie Irving, I have high standards for men, especially wealthy men, especially ones who we give the like they're doing a good job. Like, all right, how do black boys love themselves if they're not good at basketball?
That's a big thing for Kyrie Irving to figure out. But
and he's a millionaire who plays a game for a living. So, and there's a large off season. So it's the people who have the ability, who don't have to live paycheck to paycheck, who don't have to worry about like how to survive.
But you've added this element of
they're responsible
basketball to it, and I wonder why. Because Kyrie Irving actually does I've seen him do youth speeches after the basketball camp. It's going to be about basketball, which is partly
isn't that limiting though?
It's kind of like telling Kyrie so he should reach out to like kids in the choir or something. Shouldn't like a musical oriented person be interested in that?
I want to understand how once he no longer can play basketball, how's he going to love himself? Is it the money now that is his value? And like if you're teaching children like basketball is kind of the way, be singularly focused on this game, that's the way to kind of love yourself, when that is not something that's available to most children. And
I do think
so if it's like it's not good to limit children to like YN, it's also not good to limit them to just being an athlete, a basketball player.
I do think the root of his stuff isn't in this, like, his idea of like value and masculinity isn't rooted in basketball.
Okay, well then how come when I was like, all right, like rooted in something other than basketball, you're like, well, he's at basketball camps and his thing is about basketball, so what would he talk about?
You were saying there's the rooting of the thing versus like how does Kyrie has to reach, why are black kids who don't play basketball, how do you reach them? It was a different question I was
it's how do you have love for yourself that is outside of your ability to play basketball well?
So part of his thing, he got accused of anti-Semitism because he was pointing to a philosophy about African Kemet and African societies and black African success and beauty. So he has an Afro-centric outlook and a Pan-African outlook. It's not necessarily around basketball, but I think the work he does will be sports and basketball oriented. That is easier, makes sense for him. But the root of why black men should be proud of themselves has to do with this other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like,
and I think like I want us to spend more time on like this other stuff, because like I think we elevate athletes and rappers and musicians to these spaces of role model, and then when they're there, we're kind of like, well, don't ask them to, generalize it to outside of their area of expertise, which happens to be playing a game. Like, it's just, we have to have higher standards for them. Otherwise, they'll grow up to just be like Shannon Sharps, just like Gossip Girls, whose, thing is about sports and not real life.
We're asking people to grow.
Mm-hmm.
We're pointing directly at black men here, black celebrities and black youth. But this is a problem for everybody. This is a problem for white people need to grow. Women need to grow. Everybody needs to grow.
Everyone needs to grow, but I don't think any black people should wait for other people to grow to tackle our work. And so
that's the challenge.
Yeah.
But that's the challenge is we're just so distracted by the money thing. This whole concept of growth and what that means, the depth of it, is a challenge to articulate. And I certainly didn't even begin to hear it properly because some concept of growth, like my faith tradition didn't give me this as a kid. It was about Jesus, about waiting for Jesus, it's about being good to Jesus, following commandments. So I'm in my late 30s before I start to really engage in what we're pointing to. It's
Yeah.
still about growth and
Yeah. It's funny too, the woman, our Uber driver, she's saying about, you know, when she was a kid, like, something with, like, the adults, you know, they would be like, go get a job. And she's like, I'm 12.
yeah.
Anyway, I think it's, Black people, we have a lot of healing to do, unlearning to do, and it is around labor and making money. And, like, the most important thing is that you're working hard to earn money. And that's not it.
We are navigating real systems that have real impact on people's lives, but that there's still something more. I mean, I just don't want to discount the fact that, like, people have real, I don't know, real challenges, real debts, and real needs to be certified in a certain place to then meet, like, these things that have been set up, like, that then set you up for access to have a decent life. Like, there are costs to everything in our world, but it's bigger. We're not taught
That money grows on trees.
that money grows on trees.
We're taught that you have to work hard for money, and that there's never enough, and that you work all your life. Even if you make a lot of money, you still work because you never have enough. And that's just not what white people are told. That's not what white children are told. And, you know, because of that, they do have more freedom. They know the purpose of their life is not to sell their labor to someone who is above them, you know, financially or otherwise. And
Yeah, very different story, man. Produces very different story, but it's all tied into identity again.
but it's like, if you can't even imagine, like, being a lesbian, like having a relationship with someone in the same sex, it's going to be hard to imagine yourself as, like, an astronaut. It's so funny.
Same sex relations, because people don't not just struggle to imagine that, they outhand reject that potential. I'm talking about much more than, I'm talking about colors of shirts. I'm talking about ways of walking, ways of being, ways of thinking, ways of approaching life.
Yeah.
Engaging with your own happiness and your own internal intuitions and incorporating those with intention, with priority,
totally.
over the assessments of the external world.
Totally.
So that, if you can't imagine that, if you can't imagine prioritizing yourself, then you're engaging with the world entirely on somebody else's terms, and that's the shift that needs to happen.
Yeah.
And that's what the YN kind of locks you in, because it's a very specific performance that not only increases your potential to end up in jail or harmed somehow, but it decreases your happiness, your notions of love, your peace, and your curiosity about the world, about what the world is and what you could be.
Totally. I hate it too, because it's like, dang, we, like, you know, create all of this, like, a violent culture that doesn't even, like, if we're gonna, like, be all these soldiers and a squad and all this stuff, like,
for something.
How come the Israelis can do whatever they want? How come white people can do whatever they want? Why have we all learned to direct this power to work together to, like, use violence down, like, against our community, against ourselves? You know, it's like they're actual bad guys that we need violence, coordinated violence, to be exerted against them. How come I'm hearing about how gay women are the problem?
That's exactly what Kyrie said, is that we have common enemies, we have real challenges, we have real manipulation. We are all being subject to some deep manipulation. It's right there, it's very visible for many of us. Other people, it's not so visible. Some people, it's very visible, but people just turn away. They consider it too big, they consider themselves too small.
And they're like, how do we pivot?
On someone else. They focus on downhill attacks, and that's women and gays, and other brown people, immigrants. So, and
children. Like that's another thing. Like, a lot of times we, like, come for, like, oh, the kids, they're doing this. Like, they have less, you know, power, skill, like understanding of what's going on than like we do. Like, let them figure it out and like let's get ourselves together.
Let's get ourselves together, yo. Applause for that. Applause for that. Let's get our shit together.
Yeah, get it together. Get a backpack, get a museum, I don't care, put it in the shit museum. Get your shit together. Get it together. Gather it up.
Get it together. I just want a quick final thing, man. Like, you really are, when people say that your circle of friends is an indicator of who you are, be careful with your circle of friends.
Yes,
I want to add the sources you get your information from.
What you consume.
The media that you consume.
Literally.
That's a part of the circle that you're in, your circle of friends. They are forming your vernacular and your approach to the world, your understanding of the narrative of
your
the world.
lens.
Your lens is formed that way. And so you are adopting, when you watch Joe Budden, who's scared of Markham on Hill, if you watch Joe Budden, you have adopted his fears, whether you know it or not. Consciously or not,
Yeah.
you are avoiding the same things he's avoiding.
Yes, literally.
And that's happening. And if you're watching CNN, it's the same thing is true there. And so be careful and find the fearless truth seekers and the lovers and be among those, yo, and you will have a truthful, loving life.
I love that. Maybe you should do the vision future.
Vision! Oh, that's the vision.
I was like, ooh, this is so beautiful.
Yeah, vision future. Yeah, like I said, that's the future. The future is a place where our discernment is so great. We understand that every piece of media you consume, every word that you hear,
Yes.
every image that you take on is affecting you
Yeah.
in meaningful ways, and you have to make sure that you are do so with intention.
Yeah. Literally, it's like what you consume is important. And if you are consuming, so this is for me, I used to, watch a lot of true crime shows and things. And I would just watch like regular, shows that have a lot of violence and stuff in them, and that affects you. Even, the social media now. So I've been like not getting on social media to like see what the news media and everyone wants to, shove down my throat. And you really do have to at least go through periods where you are doing like a diet of the stuff you've been told to consume. And so like, yeah, the media you consume, the, all these other things. And it's the power of words. Like, if you, like, I've been doing a lot of these subliminals and robotic affirmations just so I'm constantly hearing like, I am so powerful, like,
Yes.
I am supported by the divine, I am wealthy, all of
Yes.
these things, to literally counteract all of the programming that we're given from these like wealthy, mostly dudes.
The programming about who you are,
Literally.
about what it means to be alive,
About what you should be
is
afraid of.
valuable, what is fear, what is a fear-inducing thing.
Mm-hmm.
That shit is real,
Yeah.
and you got to get out of that.
Yeah.
We got to define it for ourselves. That's the path forward. Yo.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the episode of Hot Mind. You got some shoes?
Yeah. Just like, it's be intentional about what you consume. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Agreed, yo. All right.
Yeah. And
Till next time.
yeah.
See you in a week.
Hold on.
Oh.
I want to make sure. What else did I see about? Oh, I had just seen that like actually the movie had seen Buzz Lightyear was about like the toys, ragtag group of toys kind of working together to defeat this evil guy and return home. Which like that's actually a beautiful message that Snoop Dogg could have taken from that experience of going to the movies with his grandchild. But like instead it's like he took from it more hate of gay women.
See, he doesn't internalize it as hate of gay women. That I get it. I see, and I hope he can see why gay women see it that way. But he's not even considering their perspective. He's entirely, the way he sees it is, he has his own misgivings about lesbian couples. He probably has some attachment to a more of a heteronormative family structure.
They're like, if you're not making my penis ejaculate.
Yeah,
Why are you existing?
Yeah,
you have no, like, women have no value outside of, either giving him pleasure or raising his children or whatever, but like otherwise he's like,
there's a complexity of life that he's not interested in. There's a complexity about women and about lesbians and about family structures that he's not interested in, and so he doesn't see it as hatred. He hasn't done the work to read up or learn about or care much about. And so when the kid asked him the question, like, how did they have the kids, he saw it as like an interesting, like, anxiety, and he's like, why are they doing this? And he calls it, throw it down. He wasn't prepared to talk about that. He just wanted to watch a kid's movie. Well, the kid's movie has all kinds of human themes in them.
Yeah.
It's not a kid's movie about
literally
randomness.
And I think a lot of kids movies are, they're also made for the adults. Like a lot of the jokes in there, like the kids, they're not for the kids, they're for the adults. And so if some of the jokes are for the adults, a lot of the plot and the structure is also for the adults. And like he's supposed to be learning, rather than becoming more entrenched and they're shoving it down my throat now. It's like, babe, just learn a lesson.
But this is what right wing reactionism is. You know what I'm saying? You gotta realize. I don't know if he identifies as right wing. I said that he was endorsing Trump. It seems like he didn't do that. Openly. He simply did this party that
which is Trump. Endorsing Trump,
which is, I'm sure he'll
trying to help him get elected. Is endorsing Trump.
This is what right-wing reactionary stuff looks like. It is. There's always something. There's always something that's
outside of them.
Outside of them, and outside of the ideal. And the ideal is the American heteronormative, nuclear family.
That's been forced down our throat.
Again, it doesn't feel that way to him. That is what normal is.
Because it's in his throat. He's like,
And 300 years ago, a multiracial family. Even today, people say it's about multiracial family. We're getting that thrown down our throats. White people say it. Black people say it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I just want to ask everyone to make your own stuff. Like, create your own stuff so that you can understand the process of creation. They're gonna create and cast a family. Why not a lesbian family? Why not? Like, they could have done it hetero. Why not a lesbian family? So for you by going through creation, you have to deal with that yourself and notice the choices that people have to make, and then to just chill, because the world includes all that, and it's not. See, but if you start with like it's a sin or some shit like this, then you don't want it included. You don't see it as something to be included, and so this is everybody's frameworks is very important.
Yeah.
Very important.
Yeah.
But be free and just fucking chill.
Everything's made up, babes. Like,
and
so.
Make some shit. Make your own shit.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? Make it how you want to see it.
I'm jealous of these lesbians, man. Like, just.
But
they're
lesbianism is a
aspirational.
part of reality.
Yes.
Women love women, and they raise children, and that's a part of reality.
And if anything, men, maybe take some notes on how to love a woman, on how to be invested in a woman's pleasure.
Some notes from Buzz Lightyear. Yeah.
Yeah,
Look,
from lesbians.
Just from yeah, exactly. It's like couples. You notice. Look, I've always been this way. And some people like need to see a black person in a position for them to go, oh, that's available to me. I never needed that. Just like I don't necessarily need a man to have done something for me to know that I can do it. So I can cook. I can dance. I don't need my identity groups to do something. So, I fucking lost it.
You can be OnlyFans models. You can be.
Wait, what was it? You were saying, take lessons from lesbians. Take lessons from anybody. You don't need it to be
Everyone is you.
When I see a woman, a lesbian couple, and they're like showing public affection, and they seem to be concerned with each other's needs, I can do that. I can do that to my wife.
I think that's something like you're going to be able to teach men, because I think men and boys are taught to only see themselves in other boys and men.
Yes.
And so
definitely been taught that.
Like, whereas women, I'm expected to read a story like Harry Potter and see myself as someone who could be brave and chosen and and special. But if it were called Harriet Potter,
we wouldn't be able to do it at all.
you guys wouldn't, like, you're just taught not to, like, oh, that could never be you, like, what? And then it's like, oh, well, men and women have roles, and like, then it's this whole, and it's like, it's made up, and that is what cuts men off from the fullness of what they have. So yeah, they have YNs, or like, you know, a slightly different unmasked version of YN, but equally
either sling rock or hit the basketball shot. How funny is that?
Oh, isn't that called a thing?
Tropes.
Like, isn't there the Rock reference in basketball?
Yes, but I'm referring to a rap song where I heard it a lot growing up, that the ways out for a black man is either to sell drugs or be a good basketball player. And again, that's not true. And but it's a trope that carried more weight than it should have. And
yeah, there are lots of ways.
We're still carrying some of this. There's still performances that we play, and we need to be freer, man. We need to be freer. The world is much bigger than that.
Yeah, totally. All right.
And that's what the future holds for us, yo. A much freer and open and loving and accepting experience, all right?
Yeah.
Take it easy. See you in a week.
Free Palestine!
Yeah, free Palestine.
Great.